Today, we're going to break down a truly catastrophic failure of trust. This is the story of Secure Stash, a company that built a sanctuary for secrets and then watched it all collapse from the inside. Wow. I mean, that one sentence, it just perfectly captures the sheer devastation left in the wake of Secure Stash private vaults. It's a story about a fortress that seemed untouchable, but it crumbled, raising some huge questions about privacy, about ethics, and, what a promise is really worth. And that right there, that's the big question we're tackling today. How does a company worth a staggering $180 million, an entire empire built on one single idea, secrecy, just poof, vanish overnight?
To really get the collapse, you first have to understand just how high this company flew. So let's start with how SecureStash built its seemingly impenetrable fortress of trust in the first place.
You see, for over 20 years, Secure Stash wasn't just selling storage space. No, they were selling something much bigger. A concept. They sold absolute total discretion, a safe haven for the most private possessions of celebrities, business moguls, and the super rich. What people were really buying was peace of mind. And their genius? It was all in the simplicity of their pitch. While your traditional banks were getting tangled up in all this regulatory reporting and federal oversight, Secure Stash offered the exact opposite. Their no questions asked policy, that was their secret sauce. It brought in this exclusive clientele that was more than willing to pay huge premiums. We're talking up to $15,000 a year just for total anonymity. And you know what? It worked. Oh, it worked brilliantly. At its peak, Secure Stash was a $180 million empire. But you gotta understand, this number isn't just about money. It's a measure of the incredible amount of trust they had built up with some of the most powerful people on the planet. But, of course, this is where the story takes a turn. Because every fortress has a weak spot, right? For a Secure Stash, the real secret wasn't just what was in the vaults. It was the very nature of the company itself. So here's the fundamental tension, the real problem they were facing. The entire financial world was shifting. It was moving toward more and more transparency to fight things like money laundering and fraud. Federal regulators were cracking down, handing out massive fines. And all of a sudden, Secure Stash's greatest strength, that promise of absolute privacy, was becoming its single greatest liability. So what did they do? Did they face this challenge head on? Nope. Instead, they made a fatal choice. They launched a secret 5-year surveillance program, systematically going through and photographing the contents of their clients' private vaults. And their excuse? Regulatory compliance. It was a secret justification to completely betray the one and only promise their entire company was built on. And when you break that kind of foundational trust, well, the consequences aren't just bad, they're absolute. That sanctuary wasn't just breached, it was completely and utterly shattered. The speed of the collapse was just breathtaking. It all started with a single whistleblower leaking documents. Within 24 hours, that leak turned into a media firestorm. By the end of the week, their clients, the very lifeblood of the company, were creating a stampede for the exits. This wasn't a slow decline, it was a total freefall. And the financial hit? It was total. The company went from this rock-solid $180 million valuation to basically nothing. It was a crisis level with absolutely zero hope of recovery. Because you see, the value was never in the steel walls of the vaults. It was in the promise. And that promise was now completely worthless. Okay, so the company is in absolute ruins. What now? I mean, what can you do? This next part is all about the impossible choices the CEO and the leadership team were facing in the middle of this total collapse. Seriously, just try to put yourself in the CEO's shoes for a second. Your company is bleeding clients, you're facing a mountain of lawsuits, and your brand is totally toxic. Every single option you have is a bad one. So what do? Where do you even begin to try and fix the harm you've caused? I mean, this is the dictionary definition of an existential crisis. There is no good path forward. The leadership team is completely trapped, forced to choose from a menu of horrible options, and every single one has its own catastrophic consequences. It's a real case study in crisis management when the war is already lost. So as spectacular as this implosion was, it leaves behind some really powerful lessons for all of us. Let's try and distill the most important takeaways from the wreckage of Secure Stash. Honestly, this whole story is a masterclass in what not to do. It shows you the ultimate, final price of betraying trust. It highlights the mortal danger of messing with your core brand promise. And it's a very stark reminder that a failure of business ethics isn't just some PR headache. It can be an extinction-level event for your entire business. And that leaves us with one final, critical question. SecureStash made their choice in secret, and it absolutely annihilated them. So when your company's core promise comes into direct conflict with outside pressure, which one wins? For any business, for any leader out there, the answer to that question really defines whether you survive or not.